What's going on, guys? We are coming at you with a controversial video today. We're going to share our unpopular diet opinions with you. These are some things we've changed our mind on over time, and just, I guess, things that most people may be doing keto or just your average person. Those two demographics would probably disagree with.
But before we jump into that, is it controversial for a 30-year-old to wear pigtails?
No.
So this looks good. It's a normal thing.
All I know about pigtails is Matilda, where she like throws her.
Okay, let's jump in.
And if you guys have any controversial opinions, unpopular ones, comment below, let us know. And also give us your opinion on our opinion. Number one, I think most people doing keto would disagree with this. The worst thing in the human diet that we eat in high amounts is not sugar. It's vegetable oils and seed oils. And I guess I don't have like a ton of data to present to you, although I could find some online if I wanted to. I guess for me, it's really the deviation that is the most extreme from what we used to do to what we currently do. So like, 2,000 years ago, we would get some sugar. I think it's like maybe like 2 to 3% of what the average American gets today. So it's like on the same scale, although it's orders of magnitude less. But vegetable oils is something was not even part of the human diet, didn't exist. You would get traces of it, obviously, from eating those vegetables, but even the vegetables that we commonly get vegetable oils from today didn't exist the way they exist today, and we almost never ate them. So like corn oil, soybean oil,
rice bran oil.
Yeah, just like a lot of seed oils too. The first and second source of calories in the American diet, number one is sugar, number two is soybean oil. We're getting like over 50% of our calories from two things we never ate, basically, before.
It's interesting, like, why? Because it's cheap, it's tasteless and odorless, and it's just an easy way to add an ingredient that bumps up the calories. So why are we using it?
Well, shelf stability.
But like, there's nothing to it, right? There's no nutrients and there's no taste. It just like bumps calories and is really bad for you. So I think there's no purpose of eating it, really.
It's easy to turn into like a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Like cakes and stuff. Mega says she doesn't agree with this one, but in my opinion, fasting doesn't really matter if your main goal is weight loss in isolation. But if you're doing intermittent fasting, it's probably helping you restrict calories, which is really what's doing the heavy lifting of your weight loss. But like asking all these questions about like, does heavy cream break my fast in the morning? None of that matters if you control for calories. So like if you eat 6 meals a day or you eat 1 meal a day, same calories, one of those obviously includes fasting, same weight loss.
Okay, so I guess I agree with that if we're saying that you only care about weight loss, you don't care about health or any other like benefits to your health. In that case, I do agree. But is it common and natural for human beings over the course of history to be eating all day long? Absolutely not. Did we have feast and famine periods? 100% yes. So is it something that could be really beneficial to implement? Yes. But again, if you only care about weight loss, then I just restrict your calories, and that's what matters.
It's almost the same thing as a keto diet. Like if you do a keto diet versus a high carb diet, control for calories, the weight loss is the same. The keto diet though helps you restrict calories. Same thing with intermittent fasting. For most people, it helps you restrict calories without really feeling like you're restricting calories.
Yeah.
But getting into the minutia of like what breaks a fast, if you're only fasting to lose weight, doesn't really matter. So like if you like having cream in your coffee in the morning, have the cream. If you're fasting for other reasons, like you're doing biohacking type of stuff, then maybe you want to be more strict. Most people though aren't. The next unpopular opinion is that vegetables are not that important. This might be like 50-50. Some of you guys probably share this opinion.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably share this opinion.
But I guess it goes to more of like the average person. They're like, meat is where you get the protein, fruits and vegetables, that's where you get the vitamins and nutrients. Most vitamins in its most bioavailable form is going to be in animal foods, not in plant foods. Although there is some in plant foods too, so you don't have to be like super diehard about this, but the overemphasis, I think, on vegetables doesn't make a lot of sense because most of the time you're at the grocery store, you're buying food flown in from like China,
Mexico,
India, crazy places. Doesn't make sense to be eating that routinely. It makes more sense to just be eating a local diet if possible. So like the other day I was browsing on Reddit and someone had like a cup of peaches. And on the peaches it was like peaches grown in Greece, packaged in Thailand. and the guy was eating it in the US. So it's like, what is the actual nutrient profile of that thing that's taken that whole journey?
And if the nutrients aren't as bioavailable or easily converted in your body from vegetables compared to meats, then it kind of makes sense that they're not that important. Could they add like flavor and texture and just like fun to your meals? Sure, if you enjoy eating them, go for it. But then a couple other quick things are like, they're not budget friendly. They go bad really, really fast. I don't think we've ever finished vegetables without throwing some out. And if you do enjoy them, I think a good hack for that is getting frozen vegetables, because they're like usually fresh frozen, right? And they last a lot longer in your freezer.
The general health knowledge that we have here in America is based on the standard American diet. So like when you add vegetables to a standard American diet, the vegetables are super good for you.
Yeah.
When you add fiber to the standard American diet, you know, that's a good thing. So now we think vegetables and fiber are both super good things. I think the jury's still out on that. Like in an actual really sound ancestral diet, how much do we need those things? Here's one I haven't shared before, I don't think. Multivitamins are bad for you.
That depends. My dad, they're probably good for him.
It depends on your diet. The worse your diet is, the better they are. And then there's at some point when your diet gets good enough, they start becoming detrimental.
And if you guys don't know my dad's diet, I like to always give a rundown. Breakfast is Fanta and maybe a piece of toast. Lunch is another...
So he thinks that's like orange juice replacement, the Fanta?
Yeah, that's his vegetables. Lunch is Fanta or like just a Coca-Cola. And like, we're talking bottles.
Is it diet?
No, it's never diet.
Okay.
Diet's gross to him. And like maybe a lean cuisine from Walmart. Mm-hmm. And then dinner is cereal and, you know, throw in another Fanta.
What kind of cereal?
Honey Bunches of Oats.
So he eats like 30 grams of protein a day. So the obvious thing with the multivitamins is you're getting like your daily dose of vitamins in a little capsule, which I guess you could take it with food, and then it kind of simulates that those vitamins were actually in the food you were eating. What are the sources of the vitamins? A lot of times there's going to be at least some synthetic vitamins in a multivitamin, like especially if you're getting like the Centrum or whatever. If you get a Whole Foods derived multivitamin, which is better, those are going to cost you like $40 per bottle though. Mm-hmm. Those are still obviously sourcing all of the vitamins from plants. Sometimes you'll get the ones that are like a fish oil capsule.
Yeah.
And it's like has fish oil in it and a multivitamin type of a thing. So, but most multivitamins are plant-based. Obviously, we know we need animal-based nutrients for life. So it's missing certain things, of course. Like, I don't know if we know the absorption rate of any of these vitamins when you just take them in isolation, as compared to food, which has nature's packaging and everything is just as it should be for your body to make use of it.
And I think this is particularly important for prenatal vitamins. So making sure that like if you are taking a prenatal vitamin, like the one thing that I know is never in animal form is vitamin A. It's always from the plant form, which I think is really important for you. So I would say in that case, get all of your nutrients through food, which is what I did, except for folate. So there are times when taking a supplement could be really beneficial. Just make sure you're getting it through the right sources.
The next unpopular opinion is that eating with the primary goal of losing weight is bad.
I like this one.
I think losing weight should always be a secondary thing because it is something that comes along with a proper human diet. It's automatic. So all you got to really focus on is aligning your diet with what is natural, and everything really takes care of itself. But when you start thinking like I need to eat to lose weight, that's how these crazy like 10-day soup diets, the maple syrup cleanse, that's how those things come about. You can be tricked into just crazy random stuff when you put the goal of weight loss and you're not just like, I need to just eat healthy foods for a normal human being.
Yeah, and something that's not even that crazy, if it fits your macros, is actually a crazy thing, because then you're left with like, you know, whatever, 100 calories and 7 grams of protein and 10 grams of fat. That doesn't make sense. But you are left with this like weird amount of macros at the end, and you're like trying to like pick and choose these like packaged things that'll fit that. That is an insane person, right? Yeah. In my opinion. So doing something like that is very, very unnatural for the body, because you're also like trying to squeeze in gummy bears and Pop-Tarts, and like that is just impossible to undereat or eat at like a normal rate.
Well, some people have the superpower where they can do that.
Some people. And those are the people you see on Instagram that you think you can mimic, and you cannot. And do you want to be a fitness model when it comes down to that?
We're getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The answer is no.
Next controversial opinion is you don't have to do keto. There are some other, I would say there's a spectrum of diets you could pick from that makes sense for human beings. And a lot of it depends on your personality and your goals on which one maybe you should choose. So keto's not the one true way. Although I would say it is the best for most people counter to years of standard American dieting. Some period of doing keto.
Yeah.
Probably like 6 months to a year minimum, so that then you like build up some sort of fat adaptation, which is something most human beings would have had some degree of, like some metabolic flexibility. But as far as like long-term, like 50 years, what's your diet going to be? I think anything that falls under ancestral eating is fine. Paleo diet, if you're not just like eating date paste all day, which is what a lot of people doing paleo diets do, or like honey and date bars, like those type of things.
Mediterranean diet.
Yeah. What do they say is on the Mediterranean diet?
A lot of fishes, nuts, seeds.
See, I'm not super down with that, because I think a lot of people, when they think of the Mediterranean diet, it's olive oil in replacement of like animal fats. I'm more on board with animal fats, although olive oil is fine too. I just wouldn't personally be getting like a bulk of my calories from it.
Well, coconut oil.
And I also wouldn't be getting a lot of my calories from nuts. But some amount is probably fine. I mean, it's probably fine. Like, it falls in the category of it's probably good.
It's better than sad.
Yeah.
But my ancestry eats beans and rice.
Why did you talk Southern?
I don't know. But like Indians, like I come from a vegetarian background. Like the Gujaratis don't believe, like all vegetarians, cow is God. So
you're talking recent history. I'm talking 10,000 plus years ago.
So there's where the difference.
Pre-agriculture.
Okay. Yeah, agriculture totally just shifted everything.
If you're doing a keto diet, you're loving it, you've gotten to your goal weight, what are some things maybe to introduce? Fruits, low sugar fruits, maybe starches, potatoes, things like that would be the first few things if you want to add carbs. That could still be a fine diet, especially if you're looking to like work out more, do CrossFit, high performance type of things. It could be better to do that than a keto diet. But for most people, they're doing it for weight loss. Keto, you can just coast to your goal weight.
Yeah, a lot of people ask us if we're going to do keto for life. And the quick answer is no. As Matt said, anything ancestral, and like I could see myself navigating more towards a paleo diet, especially when we have 3 grown kids. There's no way I'm not going to have, you know, some sort of carbs, whether that's like sweet potatoes or just like higher starch vegetables for children when they're growing and they're working out, you know.
Yeah, I guess when we make family dinners.
Yeah. I think, and we're going to do like pizza night once in a while. And I do have a sourdough starter, and we're going to do fresh sourdough pizza bread. Is that a thing?
Are we? Like French bread pizza? Next one, this is a new opinion I have, is that being strictly keto forever might not be great. It could be fine. My major working theory on this is that when you're doing a standard American diet, you're entirely glucose dependent. You can't really use fat for fuel. When you're doing a keto diet for a really long time, you're then switching over to being entirely fat adapted. Mm-hmm. And there is an argument like, yeah, it's easier. Your body just kind of always knows how to use glucose because it's like the preferred source, and it has to learn how to use fat. So like in the presence of glucose, once again, even if you've been doing keto for a really long time, your body like snaps back and it's like, oh, this old friend. No. Yeah, that's my experience too. I would say maybe it could be more ideal to have a little bit more flexibility. So if you're on the spectrum from like 100% glucose dependence versus fat dependence, you probably want to be like not all the way over here, but like somewhere along here seems good.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing keto for 10 years, strictly super low protein, like very high fat, that style, I don't know. That's not something I personally would do. I would like to mix in occasional, like I know we talked to Dr. Darren Schmidt, who has a YouTube channel, and he says like once every month or something.
Yeah.
He eats like a pound of
He's
blueberries.
like a bear.
Yeah. So something like that makes sense to me. Is good, but there's also people that have lived their whole lives doing a keto diet, like the Inuit.
But they don't have the abundance of food and the options that we do.
Yeah.
And
so given the option,
the majority of people, you want to enjoy foods outside of the keto spectrum, right? Like once in a while. And if you choose to do that and then you have like a hangover and you feel like shit, which happens to most of the people, happens to me, then that just like, I don't know, it like decreases my quality of enjoyment of life.
Next up, we have not everyone should base their life around being a fitness or physique model or a bodybuilder. And you probably shouldn't always listen to those people, because when you go on the internet and you are looking for advice, it's always like in a very extreme direction. It's like count your macros, you know, do your cardio fasted 5 days a week every morning. And it's like not really applicable for normal people just trying to live a somewhat healthier life.
There's always, when we talk about this, or I see like bodybuilders and stuff, I think about this comment that someone left, and they've left it on a couple of our videos, and he's always like, Why would I take advice from two people who don't look like they work out at all, you know? Where you could follow people out there who do a keto diet and they look like, I mean, they're competitors, they're physique competitors, they're perfect, they're chiseled. Yeah. You could follow those people, but look at yourself in the mirror. And are you an average, beautiful individual, or are you chiseled to the core? Do you want to be that kind of a person? Do you want to weigh your food at every single meal for the rest of your life and have off season and bulking season and peak season? That's a lot of seasons.
Like I always am like just kind of sad when there's like a mom, like a 26-year-old mom of 2 that's like, I'm on my 10-week cut. I'm following Stephanie Buttermore's mini cut. I'm just like, why? Why are you doing that?
Well, you could do what you want to do. But what I've realized is that my body is now a home for Theo, and it's my home. And so, you know, eating at a deficit, being really strict on myself, doing cardio 5 to 7 days a week, that's not fun. That's not a fun life for me.
Last one is keto is more expensive than most diets. And it should be.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah, because of course when you're taking out like the really cheap carbs, that dramatically increases the price of your diet. Yeah. So like a really cheap diet is just like a rice or a beans-based diet, which is what most cultures do.
So cheap.
Yeah, so that makes it really cheap. So when you start eating more nutrient-dense foods, obviously the price goes up. But to me, it's sort of like an investment. It's something that repays you down the road. So like same as a book. Like reading a book, yeah, it costs like $12-20 or whatever. How much is that book worth to you over your lifetime? So like if you really get the book, like the book Mastery by George Leonard. So it costs maybe like $18 or something, and it is easily worth thousands, 6 figures to me. That's how much impact that book made on my life. So same with food.
And then like, for me, I don't have an impactful book. The one that comes to mind is It's a Love Languages book I read back in law school, so like 6 years ago, and it really shaped my relationship. So like I focus on like what my love language is and what Matt's is, and we can play off of those and just have a better relationship, better communication.
You're going to be healthier for longer if you invest in your food. So I don't really have, obviously it's budget dependent, but for most people they're allocating like X% of their budget to food. And the X is probably too low. I mean, you can only do what you can do, but most people are thinking like we should be spending like $100 a month per person on groceries. I mean, at our house, we spend like at least $300 per person per month.
But that's our splurge. We don't get like Bape hoodies or anything.
Yeah.
And so the quick thing I do want to break down is the expense aspect. So people are, I believe, under the impression that we're talking like you need products, you need MCT oil, you need all these things that are the expensive part. But that's not true, right? So like we're cutting out the rice and the beans, so the cheap carbs. We're also hopefully cutting out the cheap oils like canola oil, dressings with lots of vegetable oils. So you're swapping in coconut oil, beef tallow, duck fat. Those things are more expensive. Ghee is more expensive, right? So where does the expensive come from? We're not talking packaged goods.
Mostly meats.
Okay, so meats and like healthy fats.
Meats are the biggest expense.
Well, you can get like a big like 10-pound roll of ground beef for cheap at Walmart.
You can. Yeah, I mean, there's cheap ways to do it for sure. It's not as good quality.
So we're talking,
of course,
better quality as well.
But like, yeah, I mean, if you're talking per calorie, I think the big log at Walmart is almost the same price as like a bag of rice, calorie-wise. It's probably, the rice is a little cheaper probably, but it's like same ballpark. You can do keto for really cheap.
So, is that it?
That is it.
So those are our unpopular diet opinions. Let us know down below which you agree and disagree with and what other ones are out there that we totally missed.